And I'm Christina Leavenworth. Some gorgeous days we've had. Hopefully it continues at least a tad. Christian, maybe?
Well, it's going to be warm again. It's already warm. But
we are bringing you a live shot of a massive fire. This is in Philadelphia. And we have some breaking news for you. Speaking of the fog, now officials are saying the weather may have played a factor in this crash. There was a fog advisory in the area of the crash last night, and it is still foggy out there, and that's where we find Channel 3's Laura Hussey. She joins us live. Good morning, Laura. A warning this morning, police and doctors across Florida, they say there is a new dangerous designer drug on the streets. It's called Flakka. Football season is officially back. I don't need to tell you that twice. People have been waiting for it for a while. President Obama and other national figures, they will arrive in Selma, Alabama today to commemorate Bloody Sunday. After days of delays, Escambia County 8th and 9th graders, they will take the writing portion of the Florida Standards Assessment Test today. In Santa Rosa County, deputies captured a man wanted for killing a woman and her child in New Orleans. The sheriff's office says Dwayne Martin was on the run for 2 days. All right, in other news, new charges are on the way for the woman accused of carrying a loaded gun into Alberta Elementary School. This may not be a surprise to you, but research is out there proving it now. Nighttime snacking is likely damaging your health and your waistline. You know Peeps, those little Easter candies? I think it's one of those things either you love or you hate. Well, get this, they're now coming out with Peeps flavored milk. Here's more from New York. New this morning, another terrifying crash when the driver of a truck falls asleep at the wheel. This time it plows into a school bus filled with young children. Kara Kostanich has more from Washington. I have one question for you, Callie. Have you ever had a mullet popsicle?
Blue sky, the sugar white sands, the emerald green waters of the Gulf, the azure blue waters of the Sound.
And some nasty stingrays.
Gotta mix it up a little bit.
Lately, some people going to the beach have seen a bunch of stingrays in the water, and at least a dozen people have gotten stung. Channel 3's Callie Desimone joins us live from the studio with more. And that means the Blue Wahoos are getting ready for their first pitch. Opening day is Thursday, and they came back from spring training over the weekend. They arrived a whole lot of fans at the Pensacola Airport. Expectations are high for the Wahoos this year, with a number of players who are likely to end up on the Cincinnati roster.
Christina, your love for me hinges on the weather. That's not okay.
I think most people's love for you hinges on the weather.
We know each other personally. I mean,
his wife's love for him hinges
on the weather.
Exactly.
It is 5:45. Thank you for still being with us. And we were just talking about sports and working out. I know you're training for a marathon. I don't know how you're doing it in this heat.
Pause for tonight.
Not quite
I don't want sloppy seconds. It's time for our Hollywood Buzz. And oh, Miley. Oh, Miley. Poor girl.
Oh, my Miley.
She's finally talking about her performance at the MTV Video Music Awards. Hollywood Buzz time, and it's game over for football's Michael Sam. He's the third celebrity cut this season on Dancing with the Stars. He left the competition saying he had a great time. Well, some Maroon 5 fans, they got a little rowdy at a concert in California. Some even ran on stage and bombarded Adam Levine. Okay, coming up, ISIS now targeting hipsters. The details straight ahead. I'm excited about that, and the weather will be perfect, hopefully.
That's what Christian says. I believe
him. If he says it, it's true.
There we have that.
Okay, GMA is coming up in just 2 minutes.
We will have more local news and weather for you at 7:25.
Especially seeing the wreckage yesterday as I was walking around the Santa Rosa Sound. It made it real. You saw that. You saw, the pieces of the helicopter, and you thought about the 11 men that were inside of it. We do know that 4 of the crew, they were from a Louisiana National Guard unit out of Hammond, Louisiana. Absolutely, Lena. And normally it is gorgeous out here, the view, and it just makes you happy. Not today. Just a few minutes ago, you would have been able to see the search boats that were out in the distance, a whole cluster of them. And the area they're in are consistent with the area where residents are saying they heard a loud boom. Also out here today, we saw scattered piles of debris. At this point, most of the search and rescue teams have picked it up. Seeing it makes it real. It's hard to look at knowing there were 11 service members in the aircraft. Barry Holmes, along with many other people, somberly walked along the beach, thinking of the heroes inside.
It's just unbelievable. I just can't believe it that many people could have died,
Search and rescue teams from several different agencies were also out there all day, out in the Sound and down in the sand. The fog was a major issue, making it hard to even see the boats out there.
Helicopter.
Brooke Sweet heard a loud crash around 8:30 last night, but couldn't see anything past the dock.
I did not see anything. I heard a helicopter, and it sounded like its propeller hit the ground and came to a sudden stop and a very loud sound, like if you've ever heard a car crash.
It also rattled his house, and he smelt it for hours.
The smell of the fuel was really strong, so I figured, wow, he must have just hit down on the ground hard and spilled all his fuel. I had no idea there was a tragedy.
Most of the debris has been picking up on the shore, but unfortunately in the next few days, even weeks, more is expected to wash in. Reporting live in Navarre, Christina Leavenworth, Channel 3 News. So we're just seeing just some of the stuff it takes for these recruits to become a Marine. This is one of the toughest boot camps in the country, for good reason. They even have a gas chamber. The recruits, they'll sit in here on average for about 3 minutes. They're experiencing tear gas. What's in there right now is just residue tear gas, and we're gonna let you see, just to give you an idea of what they have to go through. And in here, right now when you first walk in, it's probably about the size of, like a large tool shed. But after a few minutes, it starts to impact you. Your eyes start to water. It's starting to make it a little hard to talk. At this point, I've only been in here for probably about 15 seconds, and they're in here for about 3 minutes. So I can't imagine them dealing with the full version of the tear gas. We're gonna get out of here as it's getting a little bit hard to talk. My throat still burns at this point. A lot of questions remained unanswered for Roy Middleton. He begins physical therapy next week, but the journey will be long for him, both mentally and physically.
By doing what they asked me, they still shot me.
Roy Middleton is now haunted by nightmares. Nearly a month ago, Escambia County deputies shot at least 15 rounds at him. He keeps asking himself the same question.
Why they shot me first, and then why shoot so many times afterwards? Yeah, I ask why. That's all I can ask why.
It all happened after a neighbor called 911 after spotting Middleton in his own driveway rummaging through a car. He was mistaken for a car thief. Deputies asked him to put his hands up.
I was fully in compliance with them.
However, the Escambia County Sheriff, David Morgan, is defending the officers who shot him. Morgan says Middleton lunged at deputies.
The point to making the comment about the lunging was his herky-jerky movements.
Someone is halfway down my driveway. How I'm going to lunge at them with what? I was getting ready to do what they asked me, raise my hands.
13 rounds missed Middleton. 2 hit him, and his left leg is now shattered.
Here I am. I was walking last week. Now that I'm wounded, I can't walk. I got to stay in the house, for doing nothing.
Now he's asking for justice and an apology.
Well, I just would like for them, if they made a mistake, I would like for them to admit it, or whatever. But they had to make a mistake because I wasn't doing anything when I was in my own yard. Yeah.
Middleton is beginning the legal process to pursue a civil suit against the sheriff's office for excessive force. Meanwhile, the Florida Department of Law Enforcement is investigating what happened. Reporting in Escambia County, Christina Leavenworth, Channel 3 News. It's called Bitcoin, which is pretty much virtual money. And by clicking on ads in different websites, you earn just a fraction of a penny. And that may not sound like much, but that leads to dollars, which means money to eat.
I sit here typing in little codes over and over.
They've got a laptop, but no bed. The last time Chris Cantola and Jesse Engel slept in a bed was nearly a month ago.
I haven't showered since the 2nd.
They've been living on the streets for several years, often not knowing when they would get their next meal.
Because I know it's illegal to dumpster dive. It doesn't stop me if I'm hungry enough.
Everything they own fits in a backpack, including laptops that were donated to them by friends. Well, a few months ago, those came in handy when they discovered Bitcoin, virtual money.
It'll vary from like 1/100 of a cent to a cent.
So what can it buy? Pizza, and a whole lot of it.
To the point where we're kind of getting sick of pizza. But if it wasn't for that, there's plenty of days where we would have sat there going, all right, let's go hit a dumpster.
It can also buy a place to sleep.
So if we had enough Bitcoin, it'd be like, all right, you guys want to spend a night at the Marriott? Yeah.
However, it takes a long time to accumulate Bitcoin. But in the past 4 months, together, they've made about $500. So how does it work?
Pretty much what you're doing is you're actually just like viewing ads. It's basically getting accounts on someone's website.
The library recently stopped letting them charge their laptops outside, and other electrical outlets in the city were locked, making it pretty difficult for them to keep earning money. So after an article on them was featured on Wired.com, a Good Samaritan stepped up and donated solar chargers. Their hope is to get back up on their feet and earn enough Bitcoin to keep them fed along the way.
It's just kind of grin and bear it. Stay dry.
In Pensacola, Christina Leavenworth, Channel 3 News.